Recording in progress. हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, विश्वास रहता है भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो, विश्वास रहता है भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। जब भी निकलता घर से तुम साथ चलते हो, धूप भरी राहों में बादल से ढलते हो। जब भी निकलता घर से तुम साथ चलते हो, धूप भरी राहों में बादल से ढलते हो। यात्रा सुखद ही होगी, यात्रा सुखद ही होगी, विश्वास रहता है भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। जो दी वो खुशियाँ लुटाता हूँ, तेरा नाम रूप गुण में सबको बताता हूँ। तुमने मुझे जो दी वो खुशियाँ लुटाता हूँ, तेरा नाम रूप गुण में सबको बताता हूँ। रोशन हो सबके दिल ये, रोशन हो सबके दिल ये आभास रहता है भगवान तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर एक मेरे है ये दिल गीत गाता है, सब प्रेम से रहे ये सरगम सुनाता है। हर एक मेरे है ये दिल गीत गाता है, सब प्रेम से रहे ये सरगम सुनाता है। जन्नत बने जहाँ ये, जन्नत बने जहाँ ये शुभ भाव रहता है। भगवन तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। हर वक्त मेरे साथ हो विश्वास रहता है। भगवन तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। भगवन तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है। भगवन तुम्हारे प्यार का एहसास रहता है।
बाबा कैसे चुन करके अपने को अपना बना लेता गीत आता है ना, तो इसमें मुझे अपना बनाकर मुस्कुराना सिखा लिया।
किसी ने अपना बना के मुझको मुस्कुराना सिखा दिया। अंधेरे घर में किसी ने हंस के चिराग जैसे जला दिया। किसी ने अपना बना के मुझको मुस्कुराना सिखा दिया।
जयंती बच्ची भी आ गई है, कमाल है। पैदा होते ही बहुत स्नेही, सहयोगी, सर्विस एबल बाप दादा बच्ची को सेवा और सहयोग और निर्माण का सर्टिफिकेट देते। अभी देखो सभा के बीच में कहा है। There is only one, only the love of one, unlimited and eternal is the love of one. There is only one, only the love of one. So just
पहले का नाता कोई यूं ही नहीं दिल खाता कोई। तेरा मुझसे है पहले का नाता कोई यूं ही।
रजनी इसको लेके आई
In the beginning, when Rajni Ben brought Jayanti Ben,
तो मेरी बाल की में आंख भर गई। अच्छी 8 साल की थी।
Daddy, she was 8 years old,
बच्चों का
and
क्लास
Daddy's
होता
vision
था।
was drawn to her.
पर
There used to
बाल
be a
की अच्छी
children's
थी।
class, and Daddy's vision was on Jayanti
सदोरी
Ben. She
थी।
was a good child,
जैसे हम
the
बच्चों को
foreign
पालना
lands,
दी है ना,
and right
वो
from the
पालना
early
का
days, the
सबूत दे रही है।
sustenance that Baba
बड़ी
had
बात
given
नहीं कर
us,
रही है। पालना जो बाबा की मिली है,
Baba
हड्डी
made
सच्ची,
sure that she
एक
received
बाप
that
दूसरा
same
न
sustenance
कोई, तो
that has
सबको
penetrated her bones,
ऐसे
so
पुरुषार्थ
that she
कराने
has
में
that feeling of one
निमित्त
Baba and
बनने
no
वाले के
other.
ऊपर है।
फरिश्ते तुझसे ये कैसा नाता, कैसे ये दिल के रिश्ते ओ नन्हे से।
Somebody asked me yesterday, do you realize how much the family loves you? And I said, yes, I know. And it's a very, very moving moment to feel all the waves of love reaching me.
परम पिता के प्रिय जनों का स्वागत बारंबार है। ओ परम पिता के प्रिय जनों का स्वागत बारंबार
दोनों दादियों को दिल से बहुत बहुत थैंक्स।
हे माता जी, आकर वो दिन भी आएगा, आप लाएंगे जो सब कहेंगे वाह 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 वाह।
Jayanti Parivar. Today we have our beloved Jayanti Didi here, and it is our special fortune that she has come all the way from London to Peace Village, and today it is our double fortune that she will share with us today. So thank you, Jayanti Didi, and please accept this flower from us.
Om Shanti. It's beautiful to be here in Peace Village. And in 3 days, I think we've had 3 different seasons. So one day was intense heat, another day was rain, and today it's a beautiful sunny day, absolutely perfect. And of course, Didi is here, Didi Mohini, and Hini Bhan, and the surprise visitor, Dr. Pratap. And it's a joy to be with the group that's come here for Call of Time, because some of them have been here several times, but they brought others with them this time. But some have come for the first time, and it's lovely to see them all and have them respond to Baba's knowledge. The subject of soul, that's fairly easy for people to understand, at least those who take the trouble to come to Baba's home. And then there's the subject of God. And yes, the ones who take the time and trouble to come here are the ones who are ready for that. But last night, many, many questions about the state of the world. And so Judy and I had a little discussion, and we thought, well, this is the time to tell us that the dark night is ending and the day is beginning. And so we decided to take up the subject of the cycle. And they listened and nodded their heads. And let's see how much of that has penetrated and what sort of questions come up further. And there was another lovely session because there were 3 young people. In fact, there's been quite a number. And when I say young, I mean under 40. So it's not little children, but it's young adults. And so some in their 20s, 30s, and these, out of that group, there's 3 of them. A Sindhi girl from Chile, of all places, she's here. And then a sister who's the daughter of one of the souls who's been a friend of the BKs for a long time, but the daughter herself is now a mother herself. And then a brother who's from Iran. And you can imagine that he's going through quite a challenging time. So 3 of them, and each one of them asked questions. And it was very intense, very lovely. And then we opened it up to the gathering. So it was a new format for Call of Time to have that session, but it went off very, very well. And the subject that I'd like to take up today is a subject of actually today's Murli, and in particular, 2 of the aspects of Baba's Murli today. One, Baba's been talking a lot about soul consciousness, and the second aspect, okay, I'll come to that in just a few minutes. But the first aspect, Baba talking about soul consciousness. And there's different stages of soul consciousness, as you can imagine. And there's different words that come up in Hindi connected with all of these stages. And so the first stage, where I realize that I am that conscient being in the center of the forehead, and sitting in silence, I remind myself that this is who I am. I am that inner being of peace. And connected very much with that, to be able to reinforce that through the day, whatever else I do, I talk, I eat, I walk. There's 1,000 things that each one of us does through the day. Can I stay aware of this, that this is who I am, and this is the one who's actually the driver of this particular chariot. And the more I practice this through the day, then yes, I develop that state of self-sovereignty. I am the master of this physical form. And then if I've done that, then beyond that, I'm able to experience that stage of soul consciousness in which that stage of being the master, the sovereign, that's a stage Baba describes as Dehi Abhimani. I'm in the body, but I'm aware of the one who doesn't have a body, Dehi. So I am that inner being. And then when I sit quietly, I'm able to see to what extent I am the master of my inner faculties. I am the master of my thoughts, my feelings. I am the master of my intellect, my buddhi. I am the master of even my sanskaras, so that I can choose which sanskars to emerge and which sanskars now drama has finished, it's coming to an end, and I'm able to detach from all the other sanskars and just be able to be soul conscious and the master. And if I practice this, then I can come to the stage of what Baba describes as ashariri, detached from the body. The body is here and I am here, separate from the body. And in this stage, because I'm separate from the body, then it's very easy to be the observer. While I'm in the body and just caught up with this, I can't be the observer. When I practice this ashariri, detached from the body is here, I am here. I haven't left, I'm still breathing, I'm still alive, but it's a stage of consciousness. And in that stage of consciousness, it's going to be easy for me to be the detached observer, or even the loving observer. And then, of course, my responses to situations are quite different than they would be otherwise. Because if I'm in the body, then I get emotionally entangled in whatever it is that's going on. It also means that I'm reactive. I'm finding that the one thing that Baba's children have to keep practicing is not to be reactive. Baba says, take a moment to be here, step away, watch the scene, and like Baba, Baba tries so hard to make all of us complete and perfect. And yet Baba knows each one, according to their effort and destiny, is doing what they can. So Baba does his best. Baba's been using the term, Baba has to work hard on you. Just imagine God saying, he has to work hard for us. Who could have believed it? And yet we actually see that that's what is happening. That Baba is making the effort through the Murli, I've been noticing how it's not just every day that Baba reminds us of soul consciousness. Every Murli, several times in every Murli, Baba reminds us. And so can I really, truly be that detached observer like Baba? So I see what's happening. I see the stage. I know what it is I have to do. And my response is not a reaction, but my response is a considered response. Truly, I've become the observer and I'm responding. So that stage of Ashirdi allows me to come to that stage of being the detached observer. And then Baba uses this term Avyak, and you're the Avyakti Parivar, for that experience of that subtle stage. If I've been practicing soul consciousness in this way, then that Avyak stage in which I'm able to adopt my subtle form of the subtle region, the Avyakt Vatan, that region of light, the one in which sometimes Baba calls it the region of love. The subtle region is where I meet Bapdada, and so it's very much the region of that pure spiritual love. And so can I adopt the costume that's waiting for me there? Avyak Bapdada had said at one point that you have a shining, sparkling costume that is there. And anytime you want to go to the subtle region, you can put on your sparkling costume. And so I can experience putting on that sparkling costume and then come here, but don't take on the body of bones and flesh. Just keep that subtle costume with yourself. And as a result of that subtle costume, then yes, you won't be tired. The work you do will be filled with the fragrance of Bapdada's love. Whatever it is you do will carry a special magic. And so the Avyak stage. Then of course, Baba also speaks about Vidhehi. And it's a term that's usually used for God. That God, the incorporeal one, is the one who doesn't have a body. And that stage is my own incorporeal stage in the home itself, Param Dham, that supreme region, Mool Vatan, the supreme region of infinite light. The practice of these other stages of soul consciousness mean that I'm able to go with that awareness of the original soul and be in Param Dham and connect with my incorporeal parent. And so when Baba says, yes, you are lovely, everyone who comes to Baba experiences Baba's love, but are you able to be lost in love, loveleen? So when I go to Param Dham, when I'll finally go at the end, all karmic accounts settled, I won't have this experience then. But today, when I understand where my home is, and I'm practicing these different stages, I'm able to go to my home. The body is here, but my consciousness is there, and I'm lost in Baba's love. So that stage of loveleen, that happens when I've forgotten about this. And yes, all the system, the physiology continues to take care of itself. But I don't have to think about that. It's on automatic pilot. My consciousness is up there and I'm able to merge in God's love. Because soul meets the supreme soul and nothing else of this world is remembered at that moment. And the more I practice the stage of Vidhehi, the one without the body, my original incorporeal stage, the more the stage of being lost in love. And in recent Murlis, I was explained how this is the way to reach the stage of going beyond labor, going beyond effort, just simply experiencing the soul itself, being in that stage where there are no obstacles. There's nothing that can stop me. I'm able to be just really, truly up above there and be lost in God's love. And so soul consciousness is a very simple word to say, but Baba has explained the detail of how we can experiment with all these different stages of soul consciousness so that we truly come to that stage. And so when the final moment comes, one thought and I'm here, one thought and I'm there, and whatever comes in front of me, Baba's going to take care of it, Baba's going to protect me, Baba's going to give me that experience of being carried in God's love so that I'm up above in my home, and that's it, the sweet home of silence. Today Baba spoke about again and again, keep practicing this, and finally you'll settle all karma and you'll reach your home. And this Videhi stage, the stage of love lean, being lost in God's love, is also that stage in which all the impurities of the soul melt away. The power of God's love is the power that purifies us. And so God's compassion is that when we come to him, we are Tamo Pradhan, but with his love, he encourages us to transform, and he's able to help us melt those old sanskars of copper age and iron age, so that I'm coming to my Sato Pradhan stage. And if I reach that stage now, making effort, it'll be very easy for me to fly home. And like, again, Baba saying, if I'm a little bit careless, then how is it possible for me to reach that stage? And all the signals of time are now telling us that this is the moment when I truly have to practice these stages so that they become natural. It's like when you start riding a bicycle. How many of you remember those days when you started riding a bicycle? It took effort and it took balance, and you'd slide off and you'd fall and you'd pick yourself up again and try again. So that stage where one moment I'm soul conscious, next moment just one thought, and I change from that stage to again here. And so I keep practicing. And if I keep practicing, then that practice gives me the strength to maintain my stage. And the more I practice and maintain that stage, the higher I'm able to go in all these different stages, so that then I'm not just reading Baba's Murli, but I'm experiencing it. When Baba says, love lean, that's the stage to experience. I remember Daddy saying that when she hears Baba's Avyakt Murli especially, they still show those faces of the daddies who are listening to the Murlis, and you can see how focused and attentive they were when Baba was speaking. And Daddy would say, when Baba's speaking, I take it as a mirror. This is what Baba wants of me, and I look at myself and I see, well, how close am I to the stage that Baba actually wants for me? And so look into the mirror of the Avyakt Murlis, or even the blessings that Baba gives, and you'll be able to see to what extent you've been able to follow and achieve those stages. And the second aspect of Baba's Murli, if you think about the Murli, Baba said two things that we have to keep checking. Soul consciousness and God consciousness. How much do I remember Baba? And of course, if I'm in body consciousness, who am I going to remember? I'm going to remember human beings. But if I'm soul conscious, then I'm going to be able to remember Baba. And then the second thing that Baba told us to check, and I'm sure all of you remember, ask yourself the question, did I give sorrow to anyone? And the problem is that sometimes we know that we've caused sorrow. There's been gross anger, or there's been arrogance. You're very aware of it, you know that. But yet, sometimes we give sorrow without knowing. In what way? We're talking about things that are not really relevant. We're making judgments, and on the basis of those judgments, talking to people with that tone. Or sometimes it's a little bit harsh. But I think I'm being normal, or I think I'm speaking the truth, and maybe I am, but I'm speaking truth in a way that's hurtful. And so there are many subtle things about giving sorrow that we still continue with. And of course, if I'm criticizing someone, then that too is giving sorrow. And at that time I say, well, I was only talking about it, that I was actually causing sorrow. And so to check, is there anything like that that's happening through the day in which my reactions, and it's my reactivity that makes me cause sorrow? Is there anything that's happening in that way in which I'm causing sorrow to anyone? And so Baba says, don't give sorrow. But of course, the other side of that is, don't take sorrow. Why? Because if I've taken sorrow, then through my eyes, through my body language, through my tone of voice, I'm definitely going to give sorrow. Because if I've been hurt, then maybe they would say that, well, I wasn't hurting anyone, but I took sorrow from somehow or another. And because I let myself take sorrow, then my reactivity means that I'm going to give sorrow also. And so how can I make sure I don't take sorrow? Baba's protection. If I'm connected with Baba, then Baba's light and Baba's love surrounds me. Many, many years ago, I said to Baba, those are the days when we could have a conversation with Avyakt Baba. And so I said to Baba, Baba, there are two people who give me a lot of sorrow. I don't get angry, but I take a lot of sorrow from it. And Baba said, remember that Baba's light is the canopy around your head. And if you remember that canopy of light, then their anger isn't going to be able to penetrate that and reach you. I experimented with it. And you know what happened? At first, they became more angry, because what was happening was that they weren't getting the response in which they could see that I've been upset. And so they thought, we're going to hit harder. And so they got more angry. But with Baba's protection, I could stay under that canopy and not allow it to influence me. But then further, as I continued with this practice, I saw that it was like Baba's light was also reaching them, and they changed. And so whatever my karmic account with them was, while they were giving sorrow, I was taking sorrow, the karmic give and take just carried on. But when I stopped taking sorrow from whatever it is that they were doing, that karmic account finished, and the relationship in both cases became a very sweet one. And once I'd understood that mechanism and practiced it, then truly, not just with these two individuals, but with others also, practice this and you'll see. You're protected by God's light, And so you don't react to that. And so we never know what karmic account is it from when that this situation has come. But my response is always based on Srimad. If I make sure of that, then the karmic account is going to finish. Where it started, where it began, who's responsible. Don't have to go into that at all. Whatever it was protection, helps me finish that. So it's gone. And why should it come back? I'm attentive that I don't give sorrow to anyone. So there's no new karma being created. Otherwise, the give and take, the back and forth of karma is endless. And so Sangam Yug, it's time to say, stop. I don't want to create any more karma. I'm not going to do that at all. And yes, on the other side, I'm going to continue to do as much good karma as I can. And today Baba mentioned a very, very lovely aspect of service. Baba said, what is the highest punya karma, the highest good karma, act of charity that you can do? And the highest act of charity Baba mentioned was to create someone else's life and make someone else's life become like a diamond. And so here's a soul who's connected with me, or maybe not connected with me, but they come to Baba's home, and I'm able to share with them knowledge of who is God, knowledge of the soul, on the basis of my own personal experience also. And they begin to see that yes, they can create a good life for themselves. We're just instruments. But Baba said, as an instrument, you give them Baba's Gyan so that then their life becomes as valuable as a diamond. And so when we do this, then yes, from their heart comes a lot of love and good wishes, and from Baba comes many, many blessings. And so doing good karma, and so the stock of good karma is full and full and full, and whatever is the account from the past is getting settled and is finishing. And so today, Baba mentioning this in particular, just see, what is the quality of my thinking? Are my thoughts one that cause sorrow to another? What is the quality of my words? What is the tone of my voice? Is it causing sorrow, or is it bringing other souls closer to God? And then my actions also. Can I do something which is positive, which is for Baba's yajna? My thoughts, my words, my actions, doing something in Baba's home that's going to bring souls closer to God. Somebody told me something very lovely this morning. And she said that when I come home from work, from Lockheed job, I need to let my brain relax a bit. So you know what she does? She makes blessings. And so for some hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, the center's far away, but at home, she makes beautiful little blessings for Baba. And as nobody knows, it doesn't carry her signature at the bottom that this is what she has done. So it's totally incognito service, but her mind is then thinking about the blessings. Her mind is thinking very much about Baba. And so in that awareness, then that blessing is filled with Baba's love and power. And of course, she's getting, whoever gets the blessing, they benefit, but she's getting many blessings from Baba also. So can you imagine? Even a little thing like this. How do I use my time, my thoughts, my energy? And if all of this is being used in a positive direction, then yes, my life is becoming more and more beautiful, like a diamond. The last few Murlis have also been very focused on time, the treasure of time. And even in the Lokik world out there, people are always very aware Of course, in the West, they say time is money, and every hour of somebody's time is extremely valuable. But today, Baba said, it's not just an hour, it's every thought. Every thought is extremely valuable. And every moment that I have that thought, am I using it in the right way? If my thoughts are critical, negative, Baba said, no, that's going to drain you of your energy and it's going to spoil the atmosphere. And of course, probably whatever it is you've been thinking about, what's going to happen next is going to come into words. And maybe it's not in a big gathering. Maybe it's one person at a time. You know what they say about Brahmin secrets? You talk about it to one person at a time. And so it's not a secret because one person and that one person tells another person. And so it's not a secret. But I have to make sure that my words are based on Baba's truth, on Baba's Murli. But of course, that will happen when first my thoughts are based on Baba's Gyan. And so the Murli provides us with so much rich material. Another one of the topics that's come up in the gathering in Call of Time, and that is, we talk about it also, but what is it that I'm feeding my mind? And they're talking about the consumption of the material that comes on the internet and social media, and you know the whole story of what's going on in today's world. And so they're saying that we're surrounded by this. We're surrounded by negativity. How do we make sure that we're feeding our mind the right thing? Well, start the day with Baba's Gyan. And Lokik people don't know how to be able to get good thoughts. Where are they going to get good thoughts from? And yes, you can read the scriptures, whether it's the Hindu scriptures or the Bible, the Abrahamic scriptures, whatever it is, but to have a constant supply of good material in which the mind is occupied and takes in good thoughts, powerful thoughts all the time. Baba's family, the Avyakti Parivar, the unlimited family of Baba's children, we're the ones who have that material every single day. So just pick up a Murli and it's a treasure store. And so every morning, God gives us many, many treasures. And as a result of using those treasures, then yes, my thoughts get a clean out. And then the word that Baba's been using so often, Shubha Bhavna. Well, before I can have Shubh Bhavna, Shubh Chintan, pure thoughts, and then Shubh Chintat, good thoughts about others, and that pure Bhavna, those good feelings for all. And so there's a whole system that Baba has created so that we can have sustenance and have care for the self. And yes, I'm caring for the self through my study of the Murli. Baba doesn't say, read the Murli. Baba says, study the Murli. And there's a difference between reading the Murli or hearing the Murli and studying the Murli. Hearing it once, okay, I'll say, oh, that was very nice. But my mind can be distracted and my mind can go somewhere else and maybe I miss something. But certainly it's not registering in the way that it used to register with the Dadis. Just imagine, in Karachi, Baba couldn't always come to the gathering, and especially Kunj Bhavan, where 60 Kumaris lived with Baba. I had the good fortune of seeing that place. And so there's a beautiful staircase that's still there. And that used to describe it to us, that Mama would be standing on top of the staircase and the sisters would be gathered in that reception area down below. And Mama would be listening to Baba on the phone because things were difficult in terms of personal meetings in those days. There was a war going on. It was dangerous. So the phone. So Baba's speaking the phone, and Mama didn't have a recording mechanism. But the recording mechanism was this. So Mama would hear the Murli, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, and she would say, Ji Baba, Ji Haan, Ji Baba. So the only thing that others could hear were Mama saying, Ji Haan, Ji Haan. And at that point, Mama was registering everything Baba said, and Mama would be able to repeat it. Why? Because of her love for Baba. When you love someone, when they say something, it registers. It's not in and out, but it stays. And also because she kept her mind free from any other stuff. Yes, she was the first administrator of the yajna, so she was able to set a system to manage everything beautifully. But yet, the most important thing, the mind was clean and clear, and so she was absorbing everything that Baba was saying. And of course, then when she repeated it, it was underlined for her even further. And so at this point, can I also not just listen to Baba's Murli, but study Baba's Murli? What is the meaning behind the words? Why is Baba telling me to do this? Can I register what Baba's expecting of me? And then through the day, follow it through in my own life. So these were some of the subjects that Baba took up today. The subject of soul consciousness and remembering Baba, the subject of finishing sorrow and not giving sorrow to anyone at all, but also the subject of study. Study the Murli. Remember that you are the godly children. God-fatherly university, students studying together. And in that awareness, students have a very good relationship with each other. Some people say when we go to our gathering that the school has arranged 50 years later, and we meet our friends who were our childhood friends, is a very special feeling. So students studying together is a very special bond. And we all have the same teacher, we all study the same teachings, and so through this study, becoming the highest of all. Okay. Om Shanti. Shall we have 10 minutes of yoga? Om Shanti.
Hello, Jayanti Ben. How lovely. It doesn't seem like a time that we normally have a class, but you seem very fresh, and no doubt you're right on to something else. But I was wondering, is it all the same for you if you're giving a class or a talk to a Zoom audience, or is there something different when it's a live audience?
In fact, there is a live audience.
Is there?
Here. Peace Village is an ocean. And so Bhumi Ben snaps a finger and 20 people are here. Okay. I haven't counted, but I think it might even be more than 20.
Okay, so you have a live audience.
But yes, having a live audience makes it much more interesting.
Yeah. And I was
energy.
I was wondering also that, you know, the little video they played at the beginning, and where the question came up about, do you know how much you're loved? I wonder if you always knew that, or was it an easy thing to accept? Or did you feel after some time, after all these years, you know, must be 60 now, that that you have earned those qualifications? Or do you feel that you're just giving people an opportunity to express something that they really want to express, and that's love for another?
There were lots of scenes of a birthday celebration, and I think that maybe it was my 70th birthday, and I know that Daddy was there in London for that, and it was a time of a lot of love, a special love. every birthday, but Daddy made it very special anyway. But Baba had told me once many years ago, if you step foot in a lift, then the 4 sides of the lift have to be closed completely. Only then the lift will move, otherwise it won't move. And one side of the lift is love for the self, another side is God's love, another side is love of the family, and another side is a love from people in the world. And so Baba said, all the 3 are in place, but the one which is self-love, you have to learn to develop that.
Oh, how interesting.
So this was way, way back many years ago when Baba used to give us special personal blessings. It would have been in the 80s, I think.
Wow.
And it made me think a lot. And what I've understood is that you can love the self when you value yourself. And you can value yourself when you know that you're doing as your conscience tells you.
Beautiful.
Basically, according to Srimad.
Beautiful.
If I know that I'm diverging from Srimad, if I know I'm diverging from my inner core values that my conscience tells me are the right way, then you can't have respect for yourself or value yourself or love yourself. And so when you actually make sure that Baba's Srimad, your conscience and your behavior are all aligned together, then you can value yourself, respect yourself, and love yourself.
Wow.
And of course, when you love yourself, it's easier to give love to others.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if the pot is empty, what am I going to give?
Wow.
And so it was a big, big lesson for me when Baba said that.
That's beautiful. And I just comment on when you shared a deep appreciation of your honesty, when you shared about having taken sorrow. I bet there's many people listening and they're surprised. Sister Jayanti took sorrow, you know, and so deeply appreciating that honesty. I'm not sure if Bhumi has somebody else she wants to bring on, or I can ask another question. And that was with regards to this thing of giving sorrow. Say I inadvertently give someone sorrow due to not being sensitive. I don't even know I've given sorrow, but somebody's taken sorrow. Is there any onus on me to do anything about it if I haven't really grasped that I gave sorrow, or it's for them to sort themselves out?
I think if I'm checking myself carefully,
okay,
then in the quiet hours of the night, then it'll come to me. That scene will come in front of me, and I'll realize that even though it was totally unintended, it wasn't according to Srimad.
Wow.
The way that I spoke or the content of what I said isn't actually what Baba wants me to be doing. And so there should come a moment of conscience biting me where I then say, okay, can I take a step towards being able to apologize? And hopefully that can help the hurt.
Yeah.
And this is what Baba's saying, that if you're not checking yourself with that degree of attention and honesty, the sins continue to multiply, because a sin is a sin, whether I realize it or I don't.
Okay.
And, you know, the example of how once you're over 4 years of age, you say, oh, well, I didn't know this, but you should have known it. And so you make sure you do.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when you're caught by a camera, UK is the most camera prone country in the world.
Yeah.
In that little island, there's so many cameras everywhere. So when there's a penalty charge that comes to you, they just send you the photograph of your number plate and what you, well, you can't say, I didn't know. You've done it. They've got you on camera and they've shown you the notice that was there. Maybe it was little, maybe you didn't get a chance, you were in a rush, you didn't read it. They won't say, okay, we forgive you because you didn't know.
Yeah.
So the sin is a sin, whether I acknowledge it or I don't. So it's up to me to be so aware and alert that if I am giving sorrow, if I don't realize it at that time, at night, my conscience should be awake enough to be able to tell me.
I wonder if that might be the case nowadays, that the sort of, the justice or the retribution or whatever, that the machinery will be speeded up in the same way that the camera is there and there's no examination of conscience required, the evidence is there. I wonder if this will happen also in the world, that just it'll be a natural process in terms of karma and what have you, very quick return.
I'm sure that it is happening, especially for Brahmins.
I think.
It's like, if I do good karma today, I've cleaned Baba's home. And it's not because somebody told me to or I have to, but it's my home. I want to keep it clean. I'm cleaning Baba's home. And the closeness I feel to Baba is the immediate return of that good karma. Baba often tells us this when he's speaking to the Sevadharis, Madhuban. He always used to have a meeting with the people from Gujarat, from here, from there, wherever. And Baba would always say to them, you did so much good karma. What did you receive immediately? You're going to receive the fruit in the future, but the immediate return you've experienced is the happiness and the power, right? So in the copper age, I do karma and the return comes maybe in the next birth. But in Brahman life, I do something, I get the return of it immediately.
I think so. Yeah.
And so the good and the bad, it can't just apply in one direction. It has to apply in both directions.
Both directions. All right, dear Jayanti Ben, thank you as always.
Thank you for your questions, always probing as always.
Oh, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. I hope you're well. Good. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much, Didi. That was a wonderful class. And thank you, Vodiben, for being ever ready. I just saw her and thought to bring her on the screen. And she said yes to me. Okay, so now we will remember Baba and we'll take Drishti from Didi. And this was a really big opportunity for us to hear from her. Generally, she's traveling all around the world and doing so many sevas. And so today we caught her. Special time for Avyakti Parivar.
And big thank you for Bhumiben for suggesting it and making it happen.
Thank you, Didi. But we will have another opportunity tomorrow. Both Didis together in the evening for Avyakti Parivar. So that will be special also. So now let's remember Baba and take Drishti from Didi.
बाबा मीठे बाबा प्यारे बाबा मेरे बाबा बाबा मीठे बाबा प्यारे बाबा मेरे बाबा तू ही तो है मेरी आस पास होता है मेरे दिल को आभास तू ही तो है मेरी करती हूँ मेरे सारे काम, करके स्वयं छिप जाते हो और मशहूर होता है मेरा नाम। आभार करती मेरी हर सांस, मेरे हृदय में है तेरा निवास। तू ही तो है मेरे आस पास, होता है मेरे दिल को आभास। बाबा मीठे बाबा, प्यारे बाबा, मेरे बाबा। बाबा मीठे बाबा, प्यारे बाबा, मेरे बाबा।
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Didi. Thank you, Didi. Thank you,
Om
Baba.
Om
Thank
Shanti
you.
Didi.